Welcome. This is David Bowles, Human Meme. Today's topic: Who's Sarikaya Komzin? The Office is one of my favorite television shows to watch and rewatch. Sure, when Steve Carell left after season 7, the show should have ended honorably instead of running for 2 more seasons in a money grab. And yes, some may argue that after the writers' strike shortened season of season number 4, The Office reaches its pinnacle in that season alone, and the whole television series should have concluded right there at the end of season 4. Nothing can beat Jan and Michael living together. That was the one season for all seasons. But the show must go on, and so it did. And that point naturally takes me to season 5 of The Office, and one of my most favorite dumb jokes of The Office that still makes me laugh today every time I hear it replayed. If you remember episode 4 of season 5, Baby Shower, where Pam is studying art in New York and Jim is stuck in Scranton with Dwight. Jim and Pam are talking on the phone, and Pam is telling a story about her friend. And Jim and Pam really can't quite hear each other very well, and they're not paying attention, and Jim asks this in confusion.
Wait, who's Sarikaya Komzin?
And Pam corrects him. No, Sarikaya comes in. And Jim's expression is all like, ugh. And it's all really silly and oddly funny. But then, after Jim and Pam hang up the phone, Dwight, who was, of course, listening to the entire conversation, turns his head and asks Jim, deadpan,
who's Sarikaya Komzin?
And yes, that's when I laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. It's just too dumb and too funny not to always laugh at that bit. And if you do an internet search on who's Sarikaya Komzin, you're going to find some funny stuff. Who's Sarikaya Komzin? Nobody. She just comes in. Oh boy. And The Office, the TV series, is filled with good, Twinkie-like tidbits just like that, and you are grateful that The Office is dead and gone as a television show. And it's just as good as it always was in rerun. And let's hope it stays that way. We don't need any Office reunions or Office spin-offs. Just let the greatness sit there waiting for you forever in reruns. And my human meme friend, speaking of The Office, it's interesting that the 3 male leads, Steve Carell, Rainn Wilson, and John Krasinski, all seem to do their best afterlife office work while wearing beards as actors. I guess they're just too beloved and too well known as clean-shaven actors from The Office, and so they turn on the growth to try to keep working. And the women on the show tend to, after life in office, to either completely change their personality and behave totally unlike their character on The Office, or like the skipper from Gilligan's Island and many of the characters on the Beverly Hillbillies, they simply remain in character in their real lives, forever in The Office, to stay sane and to make some money. Hey, stardom is hard. Being poor and famous is worse. And I find all of that confusion between character and real person both sad and wonderful. Wonderful characters written so well that the actor cannot escape the mask. And sad that there won't be any more episodes of those characters in action. And I'm sure Steve Carell is laughing all the way to the grave with royalties, paychecks, confirming his best and most interesting work, is behind him now, left in the office. His career, acting career, suspended in the amber disgust of a know-nothing bigot, a misogynist, that we all laughed to love and to hate. The early Office Michael Scott episodes were the best. The latter redemption arc of making Michael a nice guy who just wanted a family and searching for love, seasons 5 through 7 pretty much, plus that awful finale where he returned, well, all of that was just sad. Okay, sure, Michael Scott just wanted to have a family. And we don't care. That character change, that intent of the person Steve Carell was acting to be, completely ruined the dramatic tension of the show that propelled forward each episode of The Office in disgust and ridicule for the boss everyone loves to hate. And hey, sometimes we don't want our funny characters to grow and change and become better people. We want them to stay ugly and funny and farting and cruel from tip to torment. And we want that forever. Learn that lesson. Oh, and by the way, the best relationship on The Office, bar none, was the one between Pam and Dwight. That was truly a friendship that worked both ways and was funny and interesting and expanded and enriched their characters every season. And now we return to this Steve Carell sense of entitlement. It's a big problem with actors who are successful on long-running television shows, and Steve is not just the only one. The character is no longer written for them. The character becomes them and their real-life personality. And there's no daylight between the fiction and the fact, and that's a problem. Nobody wants to diminish the self by acting selfless. And the character just begins to die a slow death in front of us. And we saw that happen in history on Seinfeld and Parks and Recreation and Friends and The Big Bang Theory and Cheers and MASH and Happy Days. The early episodes where the creators of the show were in charge. Those characters were funnier and more biting than in later episodes. And as actor fame grew and the character they were playing diminished and became mainstream, middling American dreamers, the shows are suddenly not as funny. Check that. It's a fact. And know it. And as a television show, a sitcom, continues past season 2 or 3, the show is run by the stars, not the character or the creators. The dramatic arc of the story becomes more important than the funny. And some viewers, fans of the show, don't mind that change, because they are no longer willing to draw the line between the star of the show and the character in the show. And everything turns to mush and milquetoast mediocre. And, my friend, isn't that sort of how life works for the rest of us? We are born and beloved, and we play the role we were assigned, and we get good reviews, or we get panned. And throughout our childhood and our high school years, we believe and behave as planned. And then things change. People move away. The world awaits. And we become something else. Something other than what we were. Perhaps we were broken. Perhaps we found tremendous success. Perhaps we didn't want to be where we were from. But there's always something that changes that person to this person we are today. And some people don't like the change. Some people want things the way they were. Some people want the old you back, while the new you is trying to thrive and find a new way. Well, we owe it to ourselves to know where we came from and to know who we were born to become while we wait out the script written for us from birth. The true of us cannot wait to take pen in hand, make demands against the creative team, and take our character, our life, back into our own hands where it belongs. And sure, there will be disappointments along the way, because we are real people, flawed people, not perfect television actors on a television show. But the reviews are in, and we've been renewed for another season, because the world loves us, and the universe wants us to succeed. Because if we can't find ourselves, and if we are unable to love beyond the scope of our patent at birth, then we are doomed to slide and swirl in the pool of the unknowns and the never-trieds. And that, my human meme friend, is not the path to immortality and death. And then, and so, we are left here alone with that one eternal philosophical question that surrounds each of us and haunts us from first breath to last gasp.
Wait, who's Sarikaya Komzin?
Who's Sarikaya Komzin?
Wait, who's Sarikaya Komzin?
Who's Sarikaya Komzin? Who's
Wait,
Sarikaya
who's
Komzin?
Sarikaya? Wait, who's Sarikaya Komzin? Wait, who's Sarikaya? Wait, who's Sarikaya Komzin?
Thank you for listening. Be a human meme.